walking into the welding lab. Looks pretty big. To your right, you're going to see Skills USA board. It definitely needs some updating, but that's a work in progress. We've got an eye washing station, water fountain over to the left. We've got some lockers for your personal belongings. So if you need to put your backpack in there, books, whatever, change of clothes, go ahead and do so. You'll actually need to sign out a locker with the tool room and furnish your own lock. So let's move forward. So there is one of our hand brakes, which you'll get into in a later class. We start to see all the welding booths and the varying welding machines. So I'll start over here. This is kind of my least favorite. It is the Lincoln Square Wave TIG 355. So this is where we're going to be using mainly SMAW and GTAW. We come on over here to the next two. We have a Miller Dynasty 350. Same thing. SMAW, GTAW. And then this little Lincoln is a CV machine. So your wire fed processes. This is the Lincoln C300 Power Wave. And what I mean by wire fed processes, if we open this up, we've got our wired electrode in there. So anything GMAW, FCAW will be using wire fed. All right, oops, I almost skipped this one. Another one of our wire feeding machines, the Millermatic 350P, strictly CV. Again, open up the side panel. We see there's our wired electrode. All right, then we have a Miller Dynasty 350. So this is your stick and TIG. And for each booth, you're going to have a small manifold where you can hook in lines for your shielding gases. We'll get into that later on. All right, we're going to find pedestal grinders all over the shop. Some of them are used for your metal, and others are for tungsten only. We'll get into that later on as well. This machine, oh man, when it was brand new, it was just amazing. But the Lincoln Aspect 375, this is for your stick and TIG. Notice how it has the water cooler auxiliary equipment down below. So some of these have coolers built into them. Another Dynasty 350. Let's see. Oh, well, let's just jump on over to this pedestal grinder. So notice how this one looks different. So these are actually for grinding tungsten and tungsten only. Another thing we'll get into later on. All right, Lincoln Precision TIG 375. So this is all for stick and TIG. You got a nice little resistance welder that you might get to mess with. All right, that panel controls the ventilation. And in this hallway, we've got another set of lockers that you can use for your stuff. Again, you have to sign out a locker, furnish your own lock. We got a little station where you can wash up. Another eye wash station. So that office area is where the instructional assistants will be during class. We've got our little water jet that's soon to come, hopefully. You get to see some of our wired electrodes. And we have a gas-driven machine that, hopefully if you stick with the program, I'll actually be teaching how to use that. Come back around. So we've got our whiteboard, our big screen. So typically this is where instructors will talk about any projects to come, any additional information that we just don't cover in lecture. All right, so what's the big screen for? Well, if we kind of walk back over towards where we came through, we've got this one kind of solo open welding station. So this is the demo area. So basically when the instructors need to give a demonstration on any new projects we're about to start, this is where it's going to be done. All right, we've got this little camera here that helps you to actually look into the arc. So that way you're not just looking at a bright light, you'll actually be able to see what's going on. All right. More machines on this side. So we got a really old one. All right, Synchrowave 351. This should look kind of familiar to you, or it will eventually. All right, Synchrowave 350LX. So a little bit of a newer version of that other Synchrowave. Kind of one of my personal favorites is the Dynasty 700. Just more machines, more booths. This little guy, the Fronius, let me tell you what. He is one of those advanced machines that if you're a beginner and you've probably never messed with the Fronius, you should probably avoid this one. It's a little bit more difficult to work with, but any of the instructors will be able to show you how to set it up. All right, so again, there's the IA office, and here's the tool room. So one of the perks of our program is that we don't actually require you to bring your own tools. You can just sign some out. So let's go ahead and take a look. So we've got all the welding hoods. We've got some filler material on the right, welding rods in the front. We've got some material on a cart that is typically, whatever metal is on the cart is going to be suited to the class that you're in. All right. So one of the things when signing out tools is typically you have to give up your school ID, your driver's license, so it all goes up here, never gets lost. Welding hoods, grinders, welding goggles, hammers, C-clamps, welding jackets, wire brushes, both stainless steel and carbon steel, welpers, vice grips, chipping hammers, so on and so forth. So if you need a tool and you don't have it, chances are you'd be able to sign it out from the tool room. But do remember, at the end of the day, you do have to give it back. All right, so that's the tool room. So let's go ahead and walk back here. So we have some more welding booths. All right, these machines are a little bit different. So this is what you'll typically see in industry as well, where you have one power source down below and it powers everything up on top. We'll get into this as well. So just continuation of more booths, more welding machines. All right. And then this thing right here, that takes up pretty much the center of our welding lab, is the plasma cam. So we don't have the computer hooked up right now. We're going through some shifting and equipment and electronics, but this is our computer operated plasma cutter. So we see there's different shapes cut into that plate right there. It was part of our blueprint reading and layout class, otherwise known as the fabrication class, but because the software itself is the longest and most difficult to learn, we kind of phased it out. So if you're lucky, you'll probably get a chance to use it. But if not, no worries. All right. And then past this roll-up door is the fabrication area. It's kind of closed off right now. I just haven't opened it up yet, but for those new students, or for those of you who are new, you actually probably won't get to do anything back there, at least not yet. Anything back there is sort of like your metal preparation, lots of grinding, stuff like that, shearing off pieces of material. You typically won't get in there until the more advanced classes. So let me go ahead and just pause it here, and I'll get it opened up, and I'll resume recording then. All right, got it open for you. So like I said, this is where a lot of our fabrication happens. So we got a tube bender, shop vac, big old huge table saw. All right, we've got our sheet metal shear. We got our iron worker, otherwise known as a piranha. So we got our notcher, thick metal shear, and wait, did I say that was a notcher? Sorry, this is for other attachments. Big thick metal shear, angle iron, and then the notcher. Drill press, plasma cutting table, another plasma cutter, oxy-fuel cutting stuff. So we got a couple tables with track cutters for oxy-fuel. All right, we got a sandblaster, some grinding booths, lots and lots of grinding booths, and then a couple of pedestal grinders, belt sander, chop saw, band saw, some welding rod ovens, of course, an anvil or two. All right, and that's pretty much the welding shop.